This is your in case of emergency eggplant.
Okay, so
Now, last question. Is it a discreet chug?
no, you just toss.
You just whack them.
Whack them with an. Yeah, haven't you ever seen?
Just
somebody that got
we don't
whacked
have
in
an
the head
HR
with an
department, and I think we would. This would not go over well. Hi, team. We are back with the Girlfriends podcast. We kick off a day with a prayer, actually, because I'm a firm believer of weaving some seriously good manifestations into the space. So may today bring us joy, happiness, and abundance of really good TikTok clips.
what we all need right now.
What we all need right now. And I am filled with gratitude for you, Elisha, for you, Walter, for you, Kat, for you, Priscilla, for you, Chris, for making this creation amazing.
Yeah,
and like
with the flow, because
and going with the flow and truly like doing this out of the goodness of your heart.
Yeah.
Because there's so many projects that we do, and like the best ones I think are the ones that have the most heart in them. So cheers for an amazing day of recordings, for an amazing episode. I love you guys.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
such a beautiful prayer. I have to tell you, Walter, I told Zlata when you ran to the bathroom, I was like, why am I shaking? Why do I feel nervous to introduce Walter?
First time I've seen Elisha nervous, actually.
I don't get nervous. I'm like, do you know how many meetings and employees? And it's just like, yeah, whatever. And she was like, you're nervous because you're in the presence of greatness. And I'm like, dude, that is so the truth. This man has, first of all, the creativity that comes out of you is just shocking to me. Every piece of clothes that you design is like full-blown art, and I admire it so much. If you want to check out, do a little bit of checking on him real quick, check out Walter's collection. It's gorgeous. I mean, you've dressed from Beyoncé, J.Lo, Sierra. What more do you need to say? Those are the people you're dressing. I'm just drooling here. I'm like, he's here, and I can feel his energy.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us. I don't think she could have said it better. We're just super excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Z, do you want to kick off? I know we have some juicy questions and opinions to get out of Walter.
Juicy
with everyone.
No pressure. She's like, I want you to get out a juicy opinion.
You do it, Z. I'm just gonna sit here and drool.
Oh, amazing. I'm actually going to have Walter move the mic closer to his mouth a little bit. Perfect. So good. Just
my God.
Sure, we have the most amazing
And I
sound.
forgot. I forgot.
You
We're
forgot.
starting this new thing every time we interview someone to have them pull a card from our spiritual AF
Deck.
just
Have these been
randomly.
shuffled?
They have been shuffled, but you can shuffle them again.
Shuffled. I love a good card pull.
Me
Because
too.
what is it about cards that they tell you exactly how you feel and what you need to feel and what you need to hear in the moment?
Do you want the scientific version or the woo-woo version?
I would like the scientific version. Okay, I'm going to put my scientific glasses on.
I feel like the scientific thing would be like, oh, well, all of these thoughts were already in your subconscious. So, of course, it just cued you and that came up. Whereas I kind of like to believe, well, the universe dumped that in my lap because I needed it.
The quantum entanglement of the quantum universe brings you this card today in your hands. And what is it, Walter?
Is that the same for fortune cookies?
Yes. Yes, especially when they're like, something good is going to happen. I'm like, I knew it.
So, legend has it that if you don't like your fortune from a fortune cookie, you're not supposed to eat the cookie.
Oh,
Because you eating the cookies, you accept.
agreeing.
That.
Oh,
fortune.
no.
Fun fact: if you ever get
Don't
a fortune
eat it.
cookie that you're just doesn't make sense or you just don't want, just don't eat the cookie.
Sweet. Do you know how many cookies I've eaten when I probably shouldn't have? I'd send that
How
one
do you
back.
cleanse your fortune cookie karma is my question. Is there an
Those
easy
bitches are
button for
good.
that?
Like, you have to eat them.
Yeah. Okay, so this side, right? At first, I'm like,
Yeah, that side. What is that side?
This side?
Yeah.
Oh, is it two? Double?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this side says, love like people aren't total assholes.
Oh,
That's what he's going to be thinking when he leaves here. She's an asshole. I love her, though. Nice.
Other side says, of course you've been hurt. People can be stupid, selfish, destructive, fuck nuts, but choosing to live life with your
With your... what?
with your dukes up, waiting for the asshole and everyone to come out, it insulates you from the brilliance in people. You'll be a force to be reckoned with if you love people with tenderness, ferocity of someone who's digging for the gold in everyone.
Oh, I love it. Okay, Dukes. This is like old school, right? With your Dukes up. Well, do you know that?
oh, you from Texas?
Oh my God. She's from Russia. And I'm like, I know something.
I'm like,
that's
who is
50
Duke?
years ago.
Is this the guy in Hawaii? I've eaten there once.
No. Okay. So that's a good card, right? I love it.
It's a great one. I think it's a great advice. I think at anytime that you go into a relationship or love, I think intent is a big energy source. So anytime you're going into a relationship, like you have to ask yourself, like, what is my intent of my relationship with that person, and kind of mentally set the tone of what you want out of a relationship, whether it's a friendship, romantic, just transactional, whatever it is. You always have to have an intent. So looking at that card and knowing, like, learn to love someone, like, just out of generosity of your heart, like it truly gives you a different experience no matter where you are or who you're with.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love that you said you tied it back to intent, because I kind of feel like, have you ever gotten into it with a loved one and then you have that moment where you're like, but I know their intent is good.
Yes.
So even I'm going to love through this, even though I do think you're being a bitch, because I know your intent for me has always been good.
Yeah.
So yeah, remembering intent for yourself and others. Don't you feel that way, Z?
I feel that way as well, because when you're serving up the truth, I don't believe in tough love for people. I believe mostly in loving truth, right? Because that's when you really think about what truth is the best for the other person. And then, because the intent is love, and then the truth comes out in a more loving, kind, thoughtful, collaborative way. And you do a lot of collaborations.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Right? You are the collaboration king, and because you're co-creating with big stars, big celebrities. So what makes a great collaboration, in your opinion, after having done so many?
I think when it comes to a collaboration, it's super important to have the intent at the end of the day that it is a collaboration, and kind of understanding all the parties involved, and kind of how can we collaborate on something that involves everyone and as well represents everyone, and what are key strengths in different people, and how can we use them for the greater good of this project. So just naturally, when it comes to collaborating, everyone always has a different perspective, which can be very challenging, because it's a conflict of like what you're looking out of something, what you want out of something,
and what you perceive it to be, right?
Exactly. So always ask yourself, like, what is like my strength, and what do I bring to the table, and how can I bring it to the team, so that way together we can all acknowledge what our strengths are, and that way we can kind of move forward and kind of have the ultimate collaboration, because you want it to be a piece that uses everyone's strengths. So when you are working with let's say like a celebrity or performer, their strengths will be understanding what the garment needs to do on stage. So it's super important to like pick that client's brain in terms of like, when you're dancing, performing, or whatever it is, like, what do you need this garment to do? Like what are those things that you cannot do what you do without? And then for me, it's sort of like what I bring. It's like, what are we going to do to make your body look the best? And it's like kind of finding that in between. How do we make you look as snatched as possible?
Oh, snatched.
But
girl, are you even snatched? Go talk to Walter. He'll get you snatched, honey.
I've been snatched by Walter.
Snatched by Walter. Can this be your Instagram handle? Amazing. I love it.
Trademark that.
I think
Public record right here.
Snatched by Walter. It's documented. We have it timestamped.
So also to kind of like in explaining that to people as you're working with them, like, okay, we can definitely do X, Y, and Z, but if your body looking as snatched as possible is also a priority. So keep in mind, if we do this, it's gonna not be as flattering. So kind of finding that in between, and kind of truly understanding the overall intent of what everyone wants out of this particular project.
I have to say, I admire that so much in you. I'm a little bit less of a creative person. I'm in that journey in my life right now. And so I'm just starting to explore. But I remember when I came to you with the wildest idea, I'm like, I need literally, I think what I told you was a bougie ass robe. Text someone and's like, I need a bougie ass robe. And you're like, okay. But your ability to pull out of me, I did have expectations, but I didn't even understand how to voice them.
Yes.
So I feel like you have the superpower of meeting someone, hearing an idea, and taking it from conception all the way to full-blown reality while making it a piece that's truly them. It's just, how did you hone that skill? When did you realize you had it?
I think it's a lot of practice. So it's not like sometimes it's something that you definitely can have within you when communicating with someone. But the more you do it every single day, just like anything, no matter what you're trying to do in life, the more you work at it every single day, the better and the more natural you get. And there's a lot of times where you learn from trial and error, and there's a beauty to that. I feel like it's very frustrating to a lot of people when they feel like, crap, I failed at whatever it is. And I always encourage people, like, failure is part of you learning. Failure is part of you developing your own experiences, and it's part of you growing and you just living life. So when you fail, no matter what it is, just know that that's okay.
Yeah.
Just know that next time you're in that situation, you'll know what to do. So as long as you don't
Or
keep
at least
repeating,
you know what to not do one way.
as long as you don't keep repeating, like, that's the beauty in mistakes and failures, is that they allow you and they prepare you for what's next. And so that way, next time you're in that situation, you know better and you grow and you take it to the next step.
There's so many amazing parts of an artist journey that you just mentioned that I couldn't even help myself but to really want to summarize, right? Like, as an artist, we go through this journey where we're like, I have this art piece and I'm the best at what I do, right? But then your art needs to be a collaborative, co-creative experience, right? Like, any piece of art is always, whether it's in the museum or it's a Sistine Chapel, it collaborates with other people around it. So what you said, I thought, was really awesome. You're like, well, what function does this garment need to perform? And in my universe as an artist, I don't remember where I picked this up, but form follows function, right? And it doesn't matter how beautiful something is. Is it functional? Is it flattering you? Is it beautiful? So as artists, I think we don't often think about, like, what function does it want to perform, right? Like, we've seen beautiful things that just don't necessarily hold the value over time or really make that person look beautiful because the artist's ego is like, no, this is how it's supposed to be, right?
And it's so challenging too at the same time, like, as an artist, like, we all have, like, a vision of what we want. No matter if it's a good vision or not, we have a vision.
Yeah, it's your vision.
So to be able to create that fine line between meeting your visions, but also making sure that it's a product that has function, that serves its purpose. It's, like, super important, because there's no point of you creating something, no matter how beautiful it is, if it has no function, if it has no purpose for what it is intended to do.
Oh, you mean like those dresses? I have multiples where I can't lift my arms all the way. And I'm
Yes.
like, the guy's trying to help you out. They're like, be careful. Don't lift my arm like that. Like, you broke? And I'm like, no, the dress.
Yeah, and it's so challenging because it's like, for me, when you're wearing anything, whether it's your favorite pair of jeans, your favorite jacket, the feeling that garment gives you is priceless. It makes you feel like you can take over the world. Like, if you feel good in whatever you're wearing and it's comfortable and it makes you look snatched and it just kind of makes you feel like $1,000,000, you can truly just conquer whatever situation you're in.
Do you feel like it impacts your energy?
Yes.
That's what you're saying. 'Cause
Yes.
I feel like when I have the right outfit on, I'm glowing. And I'm like, that's so weird. And I feel other people feel I'm glowing because the more people talk to me, and I'm like, I didn't change anything. I'm talking exactly the same way. I'm doing exactly the same things I normally do. But because I feel glowing, I'm attracting.
Exactly. You have to own whatever state or situation you're in. You have to own it and enjoy it and experience it. I feel like sometimes a lot of clients or people, they're so stressed about what's going on because it's always a high pressure event. No matter where you're going, what you're doing, if you're getting a custom made dress or you're investing in a luxury piece, it's because it's a big deal to you. So a lot of people get lost in, like, the nerves of, like, just the anxiousness of what they think this
should be,
and that they're forgetting that moment. So it's like, enjoy that
chill,
moment.
be present.
Yeah, be present in yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're nervous, that's okay. That means you're there.
Oh, I love that.
So a lot of clients are like, I'm just numb. I'm like, no. You need, whether you feel nervous, excited, scared out of your life, excited, whatever it is, like, feel it. And when you feel it, don't be afraid of feeling it. Because a lot of people get scared of being nervous because they're like, does this mean something? Like, I'm like, no, it means you're present. Like, you're human. You're supposed to feel all these things. Just embrace it.
You have good dress side manners. Like the doctor has bedside manners.
He's got dress.
Because, it's one thing to be a tremendously talented artist. It's another thing to be somebody they can lean on and to really count on to be by their side to share all these feelings and these emotions. And it's so amazing to hear from you. You're like, oh, my clients feel comfortable enough to share these things with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt like that from the moment I walked in your store. You guys were so kind. Everybody cares to make you feel whatever it is that you're looking to feel. They'll pull you a million dresses if that's what it takes. Then they'll alter it in front of you like, hey, you could do this, you could do that. And it's just, I don't think that women get that a lot. And I also think that women have a lot of insecurities with the way that we look because we've been told what we should look like for so long. So to have someone who can see who you are and then design something that encapsulates everything you're looking for, but also makes you look snatched. It's like, wow, what a cool scenario, because a lot of times I want to look good, but women's clothes are harder. It's like you have to buy it off the rack, I don't care if it's a designer or not. It wasn't made for you.
Exactly.
So it's
that's
difficult.
what people don't understand too. It's like we can all weigh the same amount. Like if we stand on a scale, but our proportions are different, our like torso lengths, like every little detail, like sometimes clients have the exact same measurements, but someone can be more like flat and wide as opposed to more like
Circular
tight and just circular.
Yeah.
So it really truly is never about your measurement or your size. It just truly comes down to understanding your proportions and kind of figuring out, again, what is your ultimate goal and how can we achieve that with the garment?
I love it. I love it.
How did you know fashion was your thing? Specifically dresses and custom design pieces, because was this like a childhood dream? Did you?
So it's funny because growing up for me, I was always into every art form that there was. In high school, I was like in wood shop, photo, like yearbook, art class, like literally everything except home ec.
You're like, I'm not doing that sewing shit.
Which is ironic.
The sewing shit.
Yeah.
So after high school, I wanted to go to LMU.
What was it though? Why wouldn't you?
So
You're like, that's for old ladies.
I think for me, it was a mixture of all things. It just felt like everybody in the class was like all girls, which in hindsight, it truly doesn't matter. But at the time, I was like, I want to be able to kind of bond with people and create my own relationships with people. And it felt like it was like me joining like
girls are scary.
No, it felt like me joining like a girls dodgeball team.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's like,
That's such a good comparison.
I want to play, but it's like everyone's. It's just awkward.
I don't fit with y'all.
Yeah, and also too, like the home ec teacher, as nice as she wasn't giving me like fashion.
Oh, yeah.
She wasn't giving you the vibe.
No, like it was like learning to sew to make like a pillowcase.
He's like, I'm not doing that. No.
And I just had
We
like
start with
bigger
the mini
dreams,
skirts.
bigger dreams. And although you all start somewhere, and obviously you have to sew the most basic thing to learn, it just wasn't alluring to me because to me I craved more luxury, more high fashion. So I felt like my other classes that I was in art were kind of allowing me to do that. Like in my art classes, I could create whatever it was on a canvas, whether I wanted it to cater to more of a luxury vibe or not. And even I was also in woodshop for like 4 years. I thought I wanted to be a furniture designer. So in my head, I was kind of going into design, but more from like an architectural standpoint and like maybe like interior design. So that's kind of where all my attention was at. So I felt like the other classes kind of fit me more into that.
That's so cool. I'm very curious about the way that you process information, because if your head was kind of in architecture, how are you applying those honed skills into dresses?
It's crazy because I was going to go to school for architecture and I was like excited. I was like planning to first go into LMU, met with my dean, toured the campus, toured my dorm, everything. And that summer, I decided to do a fashion internship with like a family friend that was like in women's contemporary. And that summer, everything just changed. Wow. And it's crazy looking back because at that internship, I was literally like doing intern stuff, like stapling, like
stapling,
like like doing like assistant work, like just I wasn't in it, but I was there.
You were observing.
And just being there made me realize this is what I want to do. Like, even though I was just stapling papers or printing or running errands or just doing intern stuff, I knew that that is what was my calling, and that's what I wanted to do. And it was that summer that I decided to just change my entire career path and focus on pursuing fashion.
What did your family think of that?
So it's just my mom. It's always been just my mom and I, and she's always been super supportive. Literally, I can do anything, and she thinks I am the
You're on
best,
the moon.
that I should do it, and then if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be big time. Like if I help her with like her hair or makeup or just whatever, she thinks it's like the best thing ever, and that I should be opening up a hair salon like the next week. So she's
Hair by Walter now.
Hey, I mean, he said snatch. That
Yes.
the whole body, the whole thing,
head to toe,
thing.
head to toe. So she's been very supportive. So when I decided to pursue fashion, she saw nothing wrong with it. She was like, she go for it. And also too, I feel like because growing up, we did have family friends that were in the fashion industry. She saw the potential and that she knew what it could be. Mm-hmm. And regardless, at the end of the day, I think she just, as long as I'm happy, she's all about it.
Mm. Oh, go ahead, Z. If you have a question,
I have a question, because it's amazing to have your parent as your cheerleader, as your biggest supporter. Mm. So, but that's not always that way when we are in the fashion industry, in Los Angeles, hitting big goals, hitting big dreams. So how do you deal with naysayers and haters?
It's crazy because when it comes to having haters, naysayers, whatever, any negativity, even within your own friend, it's gonna happen. Everyone that you tell your plans to or ideas has their own perspective and has their own experiences of why they would or wouldn't. You know, I remember particularly when I first started, I was telling a friend about what I wanted to do, luxury gowns, and she was just like, I don't think that works. Like, for me, like, I wouldn't pay more than this amount of money for a dress. And it's like, if I had sat there and listened to her, then my whole dreams would have been crushed. But at the end of the day, she and her mentality and her state of life and where she was at is not my clientele. So it's super important when you are taking advice from anyone that you make sure that it is proper advice from someone that you essentially will be catering to. Because the answer that someone will give you that is your client is different than someone that's not your client. So why are you going to take to heart or really value someone that is really someone that you aren't even catering to?
Yeah.
It's like, don't let haters ruin your dreams. Like, don't let other people's projections on their own limits really be the limit on your dreams.
Exactly.
Well, and also it sounds a lot like what you're saying is, if you're going to have someone mentoring you, make sure they've been there, done that. So don't let people mentor you that don't even have the same dreams and haven't ever conquered those.
Or don't ask a person who's not your client, an ideal client, to weigh in on the product that you're creating. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the problem is because when you're starting out, you just want to ask the people around you because that's all you have access to. And that's okay, but also understand who you're asking. Yeah. If you're asking your friend that never dresses up or that just lives in sweatpants for advice on a luxury gown, like, it's going to be completely different than if somebody who lives that lifestyle. And like, that friend with the sweatpants is going to tell you your product's way too expensive, no one's going to buy it. But the client you're looking for is going to say, oh my God, this is a steal. You need to charge more. Yeah. So it's super important that when you are taking advice from someone, that you understand who that person is and what their perspective would be to your product, to your service, to just your overall vision.
Yeah. I love what you said, that you asked people that were around you because you didn't have a network yet that you could dive into. And we actually were just speaking about that yesterday. So I'm curious, when you were able to pivot, like, how did you grow your network into the people that you really could speak to and they could give you great advice?
I think it was always connecting with my clients, even from like my first client that I actually still remember. I still remember her. I still follow her on Instagram.
I love it.
So I think it's really understanding, like, and taking in, again, from that client that you are following, and who's your target market, most importantly, with whatever business you're doing, who are you trying to sell this product, brand, image, listeners? Like who is that person, and how do we connect to them, and how do we give them what they want? Because if we're sitting here, if I'm asking like someone who completely would never even buy my product or be part of my product, then whatever opinion is they're going to give me is going to redirect me in a different direction.
That makes sense completely. Oh, you know what I just realized, Walter? We never told him why we have eggplants on our table.
I just don't even want to tell him.
I want to tell him. Do you want to know? Are you curious?
Sure.
He's like, I don't know.
Of course he's curious. There's a bunch of eggplants on the table. Wouldn't you be curious?
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to wait this long. I would be like, tell me what the fucking eggplants are for.
It's
our safe word.
Eggplant?
eggplant. That's how sexy we get.
And we do throw them at each other sometimes.
No matter how freaky the shit gets.
Since we throw them at each other, I have to have it within arm's reach.
Yes, you can have it.
Ooh.
So it's also.
I am eggplant-less.
We have 3.
Hit me.
Oh, now we got one for everybody.
Gotcha, bitches.
You need to whack anyone with an eggplant. You got it?
Got it.
He's like, I already had one, but okay.
So you just raise it if you
Do it.
don't want to answer. It's like
Yeah. Eggplant.
plead the fifth.
Yep. Let's play
Yeah.
the 5th. Easier, cuter.
This is your in case of emergency eggplant.
Okay, so
Now, last question: is it a discreet chug?
no, you just toss.
You just whack 'em.
Whack them with an. Yeah, haven't you ever seen?
Just
somebody
whack.
that
We
got
don't
whacked
have
in
an
the head
HR
with an
department, and I think this would not go over well.
Well, if you're gonna whack it at me, just away from the face.
Okay, that's fair. You want a pinky on that one? Like away from yours, away from mine. Zlata didn't jump in, so I guess we're face.
I'm into a different kind of fetish, I guess.
So make sure you get a close-up shot of that.
I love it. See, what do you think? Should we take him on our hot or not journey?
Hot or not,
I mean, he is the man
welcome
to tell
to
us.
the show where we will be judging. Well, you will be judging.
Okay.
We'll be laughing and
We'll be laughing as you're judging. We'll be projecting outfits on the TV, and then we'll be going hot or not. So
because you are the king of style. I mean, come on, trendsetter.
Who are
always.
we? Or is it random people? Is it celebrities?
It's
Is it
only
It's not
pictures of
people.
items.
it's not
items?
people.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Yes.
items.
With no, there's no names on any of it.
Got it.
No names of the designer. We will not tell you which one of them costs $3,400.
But we just want your opinion, hot or not, and is it gonna stick? Like,
Okay.
should
In terms
we
of fashion trends.
Yes,
Yes, fashion trends.
So
All
should
right.
we be adding these items to our closet?
Cue in item number 1.
Super hot.
Super hot. Super hot.
But why is it so hot? This is like a mermaid robe.
You know
Feathers.
what I love about a robe?
Walter,
like
Mike.
this?
Mike.
You know what I love about a robe like this? It tells you so much about who's wearing it without her having to say a word.
What did that tell you about me?
You know she is confident. You know she's extra. You know she enjoys life. And most importantly, you know that she is owning herself.
She is so owning herself. That is what I think about this woman. I'm like, I want to be friends with this bad bitch. Like to have the imagination and the balls to be like, you know what? I'm getting this made for my damn self. Right?
She is the moment.
She is the moment.
Guys, you're making me like blush, but
Definitely.
that black robe, Walter, I can't even. I think I'm gonna love it till I die. I'm just like, this is.
She's gonna die in it.
I will be buried in that shit.
I'm showing up to a funeral. If she's not wearing that, I know that somebody dressed her wrong. And I'll be calling Walter. I'm like, yo, Walter, a girl has a problem.
She stole the robe and she looks snatched, even though she's dead.
Would you have Walter design your coffin attire?
I mean, what better way to go? Like,
I'm getting real dark here.
you are getting dark, but you could make it happen. He's
Anything's possible.
anything's possible.
Would you make her look snatched and
Of course he would.
I mean, if I'm in a casket, I want to look snatched.
Snatched too. Right.
exactly? I want some feathers. I want some fur. I want to be so extra that people will remember that as my best fashion.
I want to be buried with like diamonds and shit.
Diamonds in my
I know you can give them to your family.
So my friends and I, whenever we're going out, we all want to dress
Yeah.
our most authentic self.
Uh-huh.
Because we always say, like, if we die, this is going to be our ghost outfit. So remember that.
Ooh. All our ghost outfit. Now I'm never going to be able to wear anything I wouldn't want to be my ghost outfit.
Exactly. So you're always just pushed to just
Be the best that you
be
can
the best that you can, whatever that means to you. Like you don't want that's going to be your ghost.
So
outfit.
we have this thing called isms where we save stuff like this. Can we coin your ghost outfit and
Yes.
start using it?
Be the best ghost you can be.
Yes.
Never leave the house in an outfit that you wouldn't want to die in.
Yeah, and an outfit that you wouldn't want to wear for the rest of eternity is what he's saying. You're the ghost.
Not
You're
even
stuck
die
in
in
it.
eternity. All right. Well, next. This is beautiful.
It
It's
is
stunning.
beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
He crushed.
Okay, what do we think about this little ensemble?
All these earrings, Walter. Is this in? Like earrings all the way?
Walter's just frozen. She's like,
I feel like
in if you're like in Tulum at like a day club.
okay.
Yeah.
So you
know,
do this fake.
Like this, yeah, this is definitely like a trend. It's not something that you want to do every day. Does it add character to your outfit? Yes. But do I want holes in my ears when I'm not wearing that? No.
okay, so do it fake, just for
Yes.
appropriate scenarios.
does anybody even go to Tulum anymore? Is that still in? Or is Tulum out?
Well,
Ooh.
because of the pandemic and so
Yeah.
much closing, there's been this huge boom of Tulum.
You're right. I feel like I've seen it on
Yeah.
Instagram. Like people
Yeah,
just
I feel like
going.
I've been to Tulum before Tulum was a thing, and now Tulum is over for me.
It's dead to her.
It's dead to me. Tulum's dead to me. Next.
Okay, let's see the next picture. So earrings up the ears only for special occasions. Platform shoes.
Right now, they're super hot, super in. This to me is like the epitome of Bratz doll.
Yes.
You notice there's a whole wave of fashion right now where you look like a Bratz doll.
Yeah. I would never have said that, but you are so right.
If you
Yes, I know.
find
David
photos
Lover.
of
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So everything from the shoes to the clothes to the lips to the hair to the eyes, like
We're
call
in
it we
Bratz.
are in a Bratz era.
Oh my God. How did that click for you? Were you just like one day, oh my God, all of it?
Who knows? It
I
wasn't the runway, maybe.
I may have had a brat probably.
You're just like, that's what that is. Okay.
But no, it is really beautiful when you look at girls. They look like little dolls, like like chunky, clunky shoes, super long hair,
Yeah.
big lips, big eyes, and tiny clothes.
But I feel like anime, Bratz doll, Barbie has always kind of been in. There's maybe a type of doll that shifts.
Barbie's like stilettos.
Barbie has definitely been in with but Barbie has always been a lot more like lean and streamlined, and Bratz was really kind of bold and chunky.
Yeah.
With like their
First variety. Yeah.
thick shoes,
Yeah.
big lips, big eyes. So Bratz, I feel like, kind of created a new wave of what we see today.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I love that.
More accurate. So you're platform lover for now.
Yes. Also, too, the platforms are a great shoe for all my petite
We should be
people
wearing these.
who because sometimes just that height just elevates you. It gives you more command. It gives you more of a presence in a room. And when you are petite, it's refreshing to be a little bit extra tall. And even now, like that they're in trend, every major fashion house has a version of this platform shoe. So if you are a short queen or a short king and you want like a more
Couple
height,
inches.
like now is the time to do it.
I love it.
I love platforms. I've always loved platforms. My most vivid memory is my father getting me platform Doc Martens in 7th grade. And he was like, are you sure you can walk in those? I'm like, Dad, I can do anything in these.
I love it.
They were so heavy because they were like real thick platforms. But I've always been a platform person. I converted Elisha into being
know, I
a
was like,
platforms
I
girl.
can't do platforms.
She's like, I don't know, Zlata. I just don't know if I
Not my
can.
thing. And she was like, put them on, bitch. And I was like, oh, I like them.
I'm like, you got this.
Fashion is so interesting and fun at times because I remember a long time ago, but it was all about the platform heel. Then that just died.
Disappeared. Yeah.
And then it was about this like super flat, like sleek, minimal, like platform chunky. If you were wearing chunky shoes, like you were like last season. So, and then now we go back to the chunky. So it's always, always have to remember fashion comes in waves. Skinny jeans are in, then it's going to be like loose and baggy. And then loose and baggy is going to get worn out and then it goes back to skinny. So that's why it's super important when you do have these like luxury pieces that you do invest in to keep them because fashion comes in waves and you never want to just kind of throw it out because you feel like the trend is over. Fashion will always come back. Like, I mean, every day I see all these kids dressing like they're from like 1995.
My mom was rocking leather trousers and a French lace bodysuit. That's another vivid memory of my mom. And now I'm like, I got dressed the other day and I'm like, damn, I look like my mom.
Yeah.
Mama's hot.
You got it from your mama.
Got it from my mama. Next one up. What do we got? What do we got?
Ooh, Tool. And lots of it.
Lots of Tool.
What do you think?
I have a love-hate relationship with Tool. And I'll tell you why. Because to me, if you're going to do Tool, do Tool.
Ooh.
So go, like, Tulle is a fabric that's intended to kind of give you volume without doing the weight. So if you're going to commit to like a Tulle look, commit all the way and give me that Tulle fantasy. When it comes to like creating a look, no matter what you're going for, I'm a huge believer that commit to the look. So don't always like just...
So go big or go home.
Exactly. So if you're going to do a Tulle dress, give me a Tulle fantasy.
So you feel like this would be cute, bigger. It needs more. Or do you feel like that? Okay, so more.
This is giving me like...
Cutesy, didn't go all the way though.
H&M Tulle.
Ah. See. Okay.
I
good.
want like Jim Battista Valli Tulle.
Yeah, so you want like...
Yeah, I feel like it's Minnesota prom Tool.
What's your thing with Minnesota?
I've never been. I don't know.
We don't know about them.
They're going to come for you.
Oh, they're coming.
Lana's just kidding. She loves Minnesota.
What do we think about this
Sending her
fuchsia?
there next year.
Yeah, what do we think about this fuchsia? This is going to be actually season 2 recording. We're going to go to Minnesota, honey.
Okay, let's go to Minnesota.
Amazing. What are your thoughts on this fuchsia? I see it everywhere this season.
Fuchsia-
What happened? Where did this fuchsia come from?
So fuchsia is, again, fashion always reflects political and society issues. I think
Get out.
coming from
Okay, I'm like,
Yeah.
my mind's being blown. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
I need to see
coming
how this works.
out of which in our lifetimes, it's the most devastating thing that has happened with COVID and shutdowns and the economy. Now I refer it to as like the new era of the roaring 20s. Like now more than ever, like people want to be loud, be bold. Like, we're all have been stuck at home. So now like a color like fuchsia is bright, it's celebratory. So it's a way to kind of show where people's state of mind is. And also Valentino did an entire collection, fuchsia. They actually created their own color called Valentino PP with Pantone. So fuchsia is a huge color that's happening this year. And I think it's a way to celebrate this you can't even say post-COVID, but this like kind of like
Post-pandemic behavior.
yes.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic event in someone's life.
It would be post-lockdown.
There you
'Cause
go.
we're just not in
Post-lockdown.
lockdown
Perfect.
anymore.
Yeah, post-lockdown.
Oh, man.
Fashion was very colorful in this season that came out for the pandemic. It was the teals and the yellows, and we saw all the influences combining these colors. Where going into the pandemic, I thought it was so monochrome. I was like, if I see another girl in a beige turtleneck, I'm just gonna like, right? And what I saw in the collections that were coming out this year is the non-gender, non-male, non-female type of movement that's coming out. What's your prediction on fashion?
I think when it comes to fashion, slowly you will start seeing many retail stores stop dividing what's male and what's female, and they will just have a store. Like eventually I see brands like Zara just having like genderless fitting rooms, genderless, because so much of today's fashion like cross
Who's to
references
say
each
you can
other.
wear it? I can't. Like, I
And-
could pull this shirt off. I love it.
Exactly. So many things like I have found like so many great things in like the women's section, and I have a lot of girlfriends that are like, oh, I got this from the boys section. So I think slowly but surely we are moving towards a more of a gender neutral. Because at the end of the day, like
What does it matter? If
what does it
makes you feel
matter?
good.
Like why should a shirt have a gender?
I love it. Why
Like
should a shirt
there
have a
really
gender?
is no reason. Like obviously there are certain garments, like undergarments, that need to be made
I mean, if
different
we
for
can
like
check,
gender related
like
fit.
no gender on forms, then shirts definitely don't need to have to worry about
Exactly.
it.
Like if you're gonna go buy a T-shirt, like, do you want to go to the men's section and then the women's section, or do you just want to see all the T-shirts that are available?
Agreed.
I wear men's t-shirts and I wear men's white collared peplum shirts, like dress shirts. And I wear a lot of men's oversized hoodies. And the last sweatsuit that I bought, it was like, I had to check my size because I was like, well, is it extra small men's or women's? I was like, sizing is going to have to shift a little bit to where we're a little bit more cognizant of like measurements. And I'm really excited about this trend. Honestly, I'm really excited for men to be more expressed because I feel like I see that we have pigeonholed men into a certain area of like, this is the
And if
only
it
way you
doesn't
can be
say
a man.
Woman's, then, and they just get to pick and be free and express, then I think we might see some more color and some more just different stuff. That's a really cool observation. How do you feel about that? Do you agree?
I mean, as a person that shops for clothes regardless of gender, I'm like, it's about time, you know? I was about to quote Lizzo. It's about damn time.
It's about damn time, girl.
Oh,
So yeah, it's definitely really interesting to see. And even if when you look at like big fashion brands like Balenciaga, so much of their clothing is very gender neutral. It truly has nothing to do about the gender and rather more about the purpose and the overall look of a garment.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great.
Should we cue in the next hot or not?
Let's do it.
We're done with the tool. Next.
Oh, we kind of covered this.
Elisha, this is Elisha was like, tell us about
I was
this
like,
particular photo.
Let's please just look at the neons. What is going on with neon everywhere? Is it in and out this season? Do you think it's here to stay? What are your thoughts on neons?
I think, again, to go off of like this post-lockdown era, like color is a huge push. Now, regarding this particular photo, it's a little messy.
It is. Yeah, it is just to give you all the colors. I think it encaptured it. Also, the whole neon with animal prints thing, I just can't wrap my head around.
This is me.
I can't do it.
This is me.
I don't know.
And it happened with me after I moved to Venice. So before the pandemic, I lived in New York and I had very refined, chic, Yves Saint Laurent fashion style. I'd like to think it's still kind of here. And then I moved to LA and I moved to Venice. And next thing you know, I'm wearing neon yellow eyeliner and
I did see that picture.
you know, my golden goose kicks are also like pink neon. I felt that I felt so confined in some of my wardrobe, and these different parts of me really came to life in post-lockdown because I really like freed parts of myself that I wouldn't see before. Music Zlata, artist Zlata, creative Zlata. And for me, neon was like my gateway drug into fun. And now I realized, okay, now my challenge as my own personal style has evolved is how do I marry both? Because we're somewhat back to normal real life, right? Like, and my schedule has now is more in terms of like form follows function for fashion as well. So function now is different. We're back to more refinement. So how would you marry the styles, your pre-pandemic style, and some of the styles that you have emerged post-lockdown? So like for me.
Well, to me, it's a perfect time to marry your style, your individual style of no matter who's in the room, you want to wear it, and obviously like your everyday life. But I think post-pandemic, we're reminded that life's short. If a particular outfit, dress, whatever it is, if you love it and you feel like it's an accurate representation of who you are, why not? Like, you always have to just own like your own look and be confident in it, because no matter if it's hot or not, if you're owning it,
it's hot.
That's hot. You know, like
now become
there's
hot.
so much, like there's a lot of times where you look at people and you think like, oh, she or he or they're just not. They're not that cool. I don't get why everyone's obsessed with them, but they're owning their brand and their look. So just kind of whatever you want to wear, as long as you own it, people are going to gravitate to that.
I agree. They're gravitating towards your energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Julia Fox has been really growing on me. Speaking of celebrities, I'm not like a celebrity, I don't read the tabloids or anything like that, but any Instagram snippet that I see of her, I'm like, she's mastered the art of being herself.
Yeah.
Like mad.
I did it myself.
Yeah, I did it myself. If it's a masterpiece, if I may say so myself. I love it. All right.
So I think for her success, she has learned to understand that her being viral comes off of these looks or these quotes that she's saying. And if it's truly her, that's even better.
Yeah.
But I think she knows that now is super important that all eyes on her, like she has been put into a new spotlight that she wasn't before. So to be able to kind of truly milk it for what she is all worth is amazing. And I think for her to not only be brought to the spotlight like overnight, but for her to kind of still figure out a way to do her and still be like relevant in like especially like social media world is amazing for her.
Yeah, totally awesome. And since you brought up celebrities, I'm so curious, who is your favorite celebrity to work with? I mean, I feel like you've worked with them all.
It's I mean it's a long list and I
You're
never
asking him to pick his favorites.
Okay,
So,
you can
hold
have
on.
a few if you need to, but I mean, who is your favorite and why?
It's weird. So I've obviously have dressed a lot of celebrities and everyone has been special for different reasons. I think every celebrity that I work with kind of fulfills a little different piece of me. Like I think when I started Beyoncé, it was like a huge accomplishment to me. Not like I just grew up idolizing Beyonce, loving Beyonce.
I mean,
like
the queen.
the queen. Like not only is she a huge staple in pop culture, but I think growing up, I just literally it's fun fact. So I'm in the middle of helping my mom move. So I was helping her pack. I was helping her pack and I found this old binder that I used to have in like middle school. And there were all these magazine cutout clippings of Beyonce that I would, if I saw it at like a J14 magazine or just one of those like teen bopper.
Did you just manifest that shit? Like you loved her so much, you're like, I will make her close
So
someday.
I would literally cut, like if I saw her, and it's funny because at that time she wasn't like she had some covers, but she wasn't like a cover girl. So you would find her little bits of her, whether it was like her horoscope or just random stuff, and I would get these, cut them out, and just I created a whole book
Oh, for her.
for her.
Yeah.
So it was really cute to look back and kind of see that. So to be able to kind of it was a really special moment to look back, reflect, realize kind of like how powerful manifestation is, and kind of see and get to experience that.
What are you manifesting right now?
I think the older I get, the more I focus on happiness and truly enjoying the moment and the experiences and the journey. Because sometimes when you focus a lot on manifesting, it's often you're looking at the future and you're like, okay, that's where I'm trying to go. That's where I'm trying to go. And it's amazing to be tunnel vision and focus, but also too, there's so much beauty in that journey and there's so much beauty in that space that you're in. It may not be where you want to be at ultimately, but it's still not where you started. And there's still like so many perks of things that you get to do. Like for me, like ultimately in my career, there's still so much more that I want to do, that I want to see, that I want to experience, and that the overall vision that I have for myself is still greater and so much more wild than where I am now. But also where I am now is amazing.
Pretty damn good.
Where I am now, like I'm truly blessed to work with amazing people, to get to experience things that people dream of, and I get to experience things that I wish I had when I first started. So I still get to enjoy that, but it's also good to remember that you have to pause and be present in the moment.
Have you found a way to really balance that? Because obviously you're a go-getter. So you manifesting and being tunnel vision, that was part of how you accomplished what you did. Have you found that way to harmonize between the two, where you make sure you still stay focused on whatever that goal is that you're looking to achieve, but then also stay present?
I think ultimately every day, or just when I'm at work and what I'm doing, I always think of myself. I always think of like, okay, where am I trying to go? Like, what is my ultimate idea, vision, and kind of like put it out there, and then kind of bring it back and say, okay, what do I need to do today to get there. Because what I need to do today is different than the things I'm going to be doing when I'm getting there. So kind of recenter yourself and enjoy and go through what needs to get done today so that you can get there. Because as much as you want to manifest and think, like there's also like you have to take a step there. So kind of like what is like my baby step today? Like
I like that.
Manifestation is a two-part word. Manifest is your intent and ation is action. So I love that you just combined the two. You said, I have manifestations, I have feelings, emotions that I want to experience. And by doing every day to get me closer to that, I'm in action of actively co-creating and co-conspiring with the universe to make it happen. And that's manifestation mastery. So everybody take note.
Got it. That's so beautiful. So if you didn't really tell us who your favorite celebrity was, but
hey,
that's
hold on.
fine.
So my favorite to work was that meant the most during my career. I would say one of them was Beyoncé, because it reminded me of myself as a kid. And to think like I would have never thought that like life would happen so fast, and now I get to be at
You're
a
gonna
place
make me cry. I feel like I don't know.
and I get to be a place where I get to be a part of Beyonce's brand, Beyonce's iconic moments, a part of pop culture. Like that is like a big deal. So like that, like for me was like a big accomplishment. Another big celebrity that I loved working with was J.Lo.
Oh, why? Why were these? You told us with Beyonce. What was it about her that just made you so happy?
J.Lo, obviously, like a similar experience with me, always like appreciating, loving, and respecting her work, not only for her talent, but also to her being Latina. Growing up, there weren't many like Latinos in pop culture like that were like she was the hot, like the moment. So to see a Latina like out there and be out there celebrated for her just you're Jennifer Lopez, like you hear her Latin background in her name. So when I got to work with her, to be able to kind of like share that with my family and for them to understand the magnitude of working with someone like J.Lo is. Because like, for example, like my mom, she's Latina, but she's not in American culture. Like I can like tell her like this celebrity is really big, but for her, it's like,
okay,
she could see them like walking across the street from her house and not know who she is, you know? Or if she were to know, she doesn't think it's cool or it's not relevant to her. So when you say a name like Jennifer Lopez, like she understands like the magnitude. She understands the level of stardom that name carries.
Yeah.
So that's why like that particular moment was really special for me in that.
I love to hear
And then my third moment that I loved in terms of like celebrity and getting to experience that was getting to work with Mariah Carey.
Why? Tell us why.
So, fun fact. So when I was a kid in middle school, I was in ESL. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
English is second language, baby. I was also not from this country, so we all sat through ESL classes.
So it didn't hit me. This experience that I'm about to share, like I completely had forgotten about it. But when I was in 7th grade, you had to pick a song. You had to pick a song and kind of like translate it and kind of like present it to class. And at that time, I had chosen Hero by Mariah Carey. And it happened, amazing. I forgot about it. So fast forward to then when I got to work with her. It was for the Vegas residency. Like it was the dress like on all the billboards, all like it's like a big moment. And we're going to like opening night. I don't know why, but we were like, let's just drive to Vegas and we can listen to all her music on our way there. So it's like me, my business partner, and our team. We're just driving so we can get in the mood and just kind of. And as we're driving, the song "Hero" comes on. And I'm like, I know this song. I completely forgot that like this was like my song. So then I'm like driving there and I'm getting kind of like emotional because I'm like, oh my God, like that little boy that chose this song in his ESL class would have never imagined that like now you're going to like the opening show of her Vegas residency and the dress she's wearing and and every single billboard is a dress that you got to be a part of. And literally, as we were driving to Vegas, we were seeing all these billboards, like just everywhere. So it was like a really surreal moment. But again, I also thought it's a slow song. I don't think she's gonna sing it. I'm thinking like I don't. It's not probably like her main hit. So the whole show happens. And she ends the show and walks off, and everyone's like, encore, encore, encore. So she comes back and starts singing Hero. And it was just like a full circle moment for me and that little boy of like and I literally got like I started like crying like beyond like uncontrollably. And it was just like so overwhelming that it was a really cool experience to get that. And even like after the show we were gonna go backstage and obviously like take photos and stuff, and I'm trying my hardest to like stop crying because I'm like I don't want her to think I'm crying because I mean you know I was just crying like for that emotional moment that I got to experience. So that was like really beautiful to kind of, again, a full circle moment. And I think all these celebrities have meant so much to me to work with because of the role that they have played in my life. So even though it's amazing to work with celebrities and it's huge when it comes to establishing your brand, for me, these moments have been instrumental in kind of it meaning something personal and close to me.
I mean, I feel like he's the ultimate manifester.
The ultimate manifester. And it's such a beautiful reminder for everyone who's listening to keep dreaming.
Yeah, keep dreaming. Because to me, it feels like you had emotional connections with each of them, very strong ones. A lot of admiration and desire to, I'm not sure if when you were having those feelings, but was to express your appreciation. And you chose your art as a way to express it, and then it was fulfilled. Yeah. Like, come on. It's funny
because as a kid, I was always like really extra. I mean, in my head, I think people thought I was just delusional.
And now they're like, holy shit, that kid was
like remember the delusional kid? It's always the weird kid in your ESL class who's crushing it later. What's up, homies?
Yeah. So like looking back, I remember like my mom's friends would call me like Hollywood. Like that was like their nickname to me.
There you go.
What's up?
Hollywood, because I was just always like so extra and like just always talking about like the most and talking about this world that I was not a part of, but I just loved. And I think it's really important to hone into things that you love and like to put it out there and to project what you want, whether people are going to think you're delusional or not. Like just put it out there. Like and before I know it
happened. I love that you shared those stories with us. Thank you. Because that really means a lot to me. I'm like, oh, that's real life. And who would have known? Would it take 30 years, 20, 30 years in between those time spans? But it's such a cool thing to be able to present to others that is manifestation. You don't need any more proof than that. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to be able to show people.
It's incredible to
really hear his story.
To witness a story in the making. Yeah. And for everyone who's listening to take note on keep dreaming, make a good, Beyoncé clipboard.
If that's what you love.
Do your clippings, right? Do your clippings. Yeah. And then most importantly, work for it because those dresses don't make themselves. Those connections don't make themselves. And it's an incredible opportunity to witness you here today. Thank you for your presence. Yes. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for the hot or not and playing along.
We're going to try to apply those lessons we learned to our closets.
And it's a pleasure to have you.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
Oh, can we keep you forever?
Of course.
Oh, yay.
So extra. I love it.
Ask what you want.
Like, I want to be snatched.
Snatched by Walter?
Snatched by Walter, baby.
Oh, we love you. Thank you for coming. It was beautiful.
It's my honor. It's my pleasure. And I cannot wait to see where you guys take this podcast to. And I cannot wait to see your growth. And I cannot wait to see just kind of like you both develop into the woman that you both already are, and that this will allow you girls to kind of become larger than your dreams and just kind of having a voice. It's super important for women especially to be able to hear other women and to be able to share and connect and realize that at the end of the day, we're all just human beings with goals and passions. And once we're able to kind of, again, like remind ourselves of that, we'll be a lot kinder to everyone around us.
I love it. I feel so grateful. This was so much fun. I could talk to you forever. That's why actually they have these to throw at me. That's why he had that one.
This is it.
Like,
This
shut
is
up,
your
Elisha, you're done. Walter, we love you. Thank you again for coming.
Of course, it's my pleasure.